Early life and Corsican identity. Napoleon Bonaparte was born on August 15, 1769, on the Mediterranean island of Corsica, shortly after it was ceded to France by the Republic of Genoa. Growing up, Napoleon developed a strong Corsican identity and, inspired by leaders like Pasquale Paoli, was initially a Corsican nationalist. His admiration for Paoli represented his early belief in Corsican independence. However, as France asserted its control over Corsica, young Napoleon's ambitions began to expand beyond the island, shifting towards a broader influence within the French Empire. Napoleon's early years were spent balancing his Corsican identity and his father's allegiance to France, a source of tension between them. His father, Carlo Bonaparte, who had initially fought for Corsican independence, aligned with France after their defeat, securing noble status. This betrayal deeply affected Napoleon, as he saw his father as a deserter, a notion that would shape his outlook on loyalty and power in the years to come. Education and introduction to military life. Thanks to his father's connections, Napoleon received a scholarship to the French Military College at Brienne and later attended the elite École Militaire in Paris. Here, despite facing discrimination due to his accent and Corsican background, he excelled in subjects like mathematics and geography, which would later prove crucial in his military strategies. Napoleon's isolation at school drove him to immerse himself in the works of Enlightenment thinkers like Rousseau, whose ideas on freedom and nationalism resonated deeply with him. He developed an affinity for the study of historic figures, drawing lessons from the lives of leaders like Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great. This admiration instilled in him a desire not just for military success, but for a legacy of greatness. Napoleon's analytical mind, coupled with an intense work ethic and a natural aptitude for leadership, soon set him apart in the military. Rise during the French Revolution. The French Revolution, 1789, marked a seismic shift in the political landscape of France, transitioning from an absolute monarchy to a republic based on principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Napoleon, who initially held a grudge against the French, began to see opportunities within the revolutionary movement. The revolution allowed a young Corsican outsider to rise rapidly in rank and significance. In 1793, his support for the Jacobin government brought him to the attention of prominent revolutionaries, including Maximilien Robespierre. It was during the siege of Toulon that Napoleon's military prowess was first widely recognized. His strategic thinking and courage under fire won him respect and a promotion to brigadier general at the age of 24. The Reign of Terror, led by Robespierre, cast a dark shadow over France with mass executions aimed at quelling opposition. Despite its brutal reputation, the era was also marked by significant reforms, including universal male suffrage, educational rights for women, and the abolition of slavery. Napoleon's alignment with the Jacobins, however, led to his imprisonment following Robespierre's fall. His release after only a few weeks hinted at his resilience and reputation, even in the chaotic landscape of revolutionary France. Path to power. Hero of the Republic. Napoleon's military successes in battles like the Siege of Toulon and his strategic defense against royalist uprisings in Paris earned him national acclaim and rapid promotions. By 1796, he had command of the French Army of Italy, where he led his troops to numerous victories against the Austrians, establishing himself as an indispensable military leader. What set Napoleon apart was his ability to inspire his soldiers through powerful speeches and a disciplined approach. He condemned looting and encouraged respect for the civilian population, which endeared him to the masses. However, his campaigns were not without self-interest. Napoleon's desire to build a universal museum in Paris led him to plunder valuable artworks from conquered territories. His ambition to immortalize himself as a cultural icon was intertwined with his military exploits, as he sought to portray himself not just as a general, but as a beacon of French civilization. Egyptian campaign. Science and symbolism amidst military failure. Napoleon's Egyptian campaign in 1798 was driven by his desire to disrupt British access to India and establish French influence in the Mediterranean. Although the campaign ended in failure, with his forces defeated by the British Navy in the Battle of the Nile, Napoleon managed to maintain a heroic image upon his return to France, thanks to extensive propaganda. Newspapers under his control, along with numerous commissioned artworks, depicted him as a fearless leader and cultural visionary, even in defeat. Despite its military shortcomings, the Egyptian campaign had significant scientific impact. The discovery of the Rosetta Stone, for instance, provided a key to understanding ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, revolutionizing the field of Egyptology. Napoleon's Institute of Egypt brought together scientists, scholars, and artists to study the region's history, culture, and natural resources. His strategic use of propaganda during this time solidified his image as a forward-thinking leader, more than a mere conqueror. Coup of 1799 and rise as first consul amidst the instability of post-revolutionary France. Napoleon orchestrated the coup of 18 Brumaire in 1799, overthrowing the Directory and establishing himself as first consul. Through a series of referendums, widely considered fraudulent, Napoleon secured public support for his leadership, with claims that an overwhelming majority favored his rule. As first consul, Napoleon initiated reforms that would stabilize France and lay the groundwork for his legacy. He introduced the Napoleonic Code in 1804, a legal framework that abolished feudal privileges, established equality before the law for men, and enshrined property rights. This code influenced legal systems across Europe, representing one of Napoleon's most enduring contributions. He also founded the Bank of France, which provided economic stability and promoted secularism, allowing religious freedom while curtailing the power of the Catholic Church. From consul to emperor, ambitions and the pursuit of power. In 1804, through another referendum, Napoleon declared himself emperor, crowning himself in a grand ceremony that symbolized his complete control over France. Beethoven, who had once dedicated his Symphony No. 3 to Napoleon as a symbol of republican ideals, famously withdrew his dedication upon learning of Napoleon's self-coronation. Napoleon's imperial ambitions led him into a series of wars across Europe, often framed as liberation campaigns but ultimately motivated by his desire to consolidate power. He positioned himself as a liberator against the old monarchies, but his actions in occupied territories, installing family members as rulers and exploiting resources, often contradicted his rhetoric. He spread Enlightenment ideals, abolished feudalism, and introduced the Napoleonic Code in conquered lands, but his rule was also marked by censorship, a rollback of women's rights, and the reintroduction of slavery in French colonies. Legacy and controversy. Napoleon's impact on Europe was profound, both in terms of political reforms and military dominance. His Napoleonic Code, emphasis on secularism, and banking reforms set the foundation for modern France and influenced other European nations. However, his relentless pursuit of power led to catastrophic wars, claiming the lives of millions and eventually leading to his own downfall. In the end, Napoleon's story is a complex one, embodying both the ideals of the Enlightenment and the darker realities of absolute power. His legacy remains a topic of debate. Was he a hero who modernized Europe or a dictator whose ambition brought untold suffering? Napoleon's contributions to law, governance, and culture are undeniable, but so are the consequences of his wars and the authoritarian nature of his rule. Ridley Scott's upcoming film, Napoleon, aims to capture this complexity, with Joaquin Phoenix portraying the multifaceted character of Napoleon, both a conqueror and a flawed leader. As we reflect on Napoleon's life, his achievements and controversies, the question remains: was he a visionary leader, or did his lust for power overshadow his